Thank you. Hello, everybody. Can you hear me well? Great, yeah. Thank you all for being here. I will talk today a little bit about talent needs and AI safety. Maybe like a quick, before I start anything, who is like how familiar with AI safety? If this is like most familiar and this is like head of the concept, kind of know the main gist of it. This is can name every org. This is can name only the top 12 or something. I'm joking. Okay, awesome. Awesome, cool. Okay, let's start right off with who am I? What is Pivotal? I'm Tilman Räuker. I'm the co-director of Pivotal Research. We run fellowships, mostly in London, trying to connect researchers, early career researchers with very experienced researchers in the space and trying to get like some really good research happening in the space of AI safety. More to that later. Who am I? Co-director, like I mentioned. I post papers on safe_paper on Twitter. Follow me. Previously in AI safety, what I did was a little bit of advising for the AI safety fund, which was like a very nice fund in collaboration with all the frontier labs, with Anthropic, OpenAI, and DeepMind, trying to get some really good research happening. I was a research manager at Era. Did some independent research myself, checked my Google Scholar, and in my previous life, I was a radio frequency engineer. I really liked building antennas. All right, yeah, Pivotal, I already mentioned, we run these research programs in London. One of the main goals that we have is that we get our fellows in really impactful organizations to continue doing research after the programs ended. I have like a small list of program places where our fellows end up here listed, but more to that later. Quickly talking about what I will cover. We will talk about AI safety today. I will very quickly only glance on that. Concrete advice.
A little closer to the mouth, we'll hear you better.
Okay, thank you.
Amazing, perfect.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Awesome.
My initial hope was that I don't need a microphone, but I guess this is way better. I have some concrete advice on upskilling. I want to tell you a little bit about how to do great applications if you ever want to apply for a program like Pivotal, how to write better research proposals, a little bit of track record, how we accelerated careers so far with our programs, overview of our fellowships, and in the end we have a Q&A, so if you have some questions, we can talk about that. Okay, so the first case I would make is that AI safety right now is not necessarily winning. What is AI safety is maybe like a good question. AI safety is sort of the interdisciplinary field, like trying to make AI development, deployment happen in a safe way that is sort of working for the benefit of humanity. So when I say it is not necessarily winning, what do I mean with that? I am thinking about there are too few people working on this right now. And maybe, I don't know, we already like covered there's like different familiarities with AI safety. For some, it feels like, okay, yeah, AI safety, we have like a bunch of people that are already working on this. It seems like we are on it. I would make the case that this is not that this is not the case. Space is not saturated. We have tons of problem areas. I will talk about them in a minute. And there is a very distinct problem of having the right people work on the right questions. And I brought some cases. I think this is being recorded, so I can't name any labs that I'm now mentioning. But the case number one is a frontier lab trying to find for an AI safety researcher. And you think about these frontier labs, and maybe you assume something like, okay, they get like millions of applications. I never have a chance. In the end, they made an offer to some person. If the person wouldn't have made the offer, the position would have been unfilled. What that means is that there would be like one less full-time working AI safety researcher at a frontier lab. Safety researchers at frontier labs have incredible leverage in making the systems that they are deployed inside, so ChatGPT or Claude, that these deployments happen responsibly. So any person that we can additionally have in these labs is definitely something we want to see very much endorse. A second case, we had a hire for like a threat model within a frontier lab. So a person that is very dedicated towards like one specific version of how AI could be not beneficial for AI safety. And that person that was hired had no expertise in that area. They were, I wrote initially, it was comedically outside of their area of expertise. And that is now like a very responsible person within that frontier lab trying to answer like a very difficult question about how AI should be in relation to humanity. And the last case is that there are many areas within AI safety that simply have like not a single person working on this. So we want to have answers to any type of interactions with AI and humanity that could be like really harmful. And usually we think about it in a way like, okay, maybe one thing that could be like really difficult for AI in the future is the problem that AIs sometimes lie to their users. And 2 years ago, it would have been not a very clear answer to ask like, okay, who is the one person responsible for answering this question? Nowadays, we have luckily like a few people that are like dedicated literally to that one question, but like 2 years ago, there would have been like not a single person responsible who's like trying to answer the question, what do we do when AI is deceiving us? And yeah, these areas still exist today. That is really bad. One example of like an area that is right now not covered, there's currently not a single person that is working on what it means that AI could lead to like bio-threats, so AI be used to do bioengineered pandemics within China, which is definitely a place where potentially like a last pandemic emerged. So definitely something you want to have like at least one person like thinking about. Okay. Case is really dire. AGI is probably coming soon. This is on estimates. It's really difficult to predict things that are happening in the future. Current estimates are the 11th of April in 2028, so in 2 years. Estimates, because they are also in the future, are not significantly below 1%. What does that mean? That there are like global catastrophic risk from AI. Global catastrophic risk are defined by the risk of events that could significantly harm or set back the potential of humanity, or like that could harm civilization on a global scale. Global catastrophic risk of 1% would be completely unacceptable. Imagine there's like something that had like a 1% chance of like producing a tremendous amount of harm to humanity. Feels kind of bad. Current estimates for like researchers in that area, even if they are like not at all involved with AI safety, are around 20% through AI. So this is pretty unacceptable. Lots of problems. There's very little time. There's a big urgency for people to join the space and trying to answer these questions. I mentioned AI safety is an interdisciplinary field. There's like multiple ways of trying to compartmentalize like AI safety in like different domains. I went for technical AI safety, AI governance, and technical AI governance. And technical AI governance sort of being in between technical safety and AI governance. And within these domains, each we have subdomains or like subfields. So thinking about like what efforts are being done in AI safety, you could think, for example, about the alignment problem of trying to align whatever the AI's preferences are with humans' preferences. There's a classic alignment problem, and within this we have like the subfield scalable oversight, which is trying to answer the question of how we can see what the AI is doing in like different levels and like different levels of insights into these models. So we have overarching fields, domains, and maybe subdomains. And I'm using this here because I want you to have a better understanding of how you can join these efforts if you're excited about any of them. Quickly trying to make sense of these fields. It maybe is also worth to trying to see how they differ from each other. They all have sort of a different notion of like what a good ideal background to work on each problem looks like, on each field looks like. Ideal background, for example, a good case would be what is an ideal background for someone who wants to work in AI governance in the area of economy, whatever the economic influences or aspects are of AI on society. And then a good background would be an econ background. There's a field of study that is dedicated to economy. That is, for example, way different for like technical AI safety, where you have AI control, sort of the question of how you can control these models as they're deployed, where there's no study course that you can take to get insights on that. So the knowledge prerequisite, the ideal background is maybe different because some domains are like more advanced than others. That also like relates with how established they are. They are like fields like econ, they are like pretty established. Interpretability is maybe within AI safety a pretty established field. Globally speaking, it's fairly new, like 10 years old, maybe 15. And lastly, a requirement of how much effort it takes to get a good grasp or understanding within that field. A good example here would be AI control is arguably not that deep. It's very easy to get like up to speed with most of the research that has been done. There has been like maybe 10 influential papers. If you read them, you are probably among the 100 most educated people in AI control. Verification, like trying to verify models, has a ton of lore. You can understand how other verification mechanisms work in normal society that is not related to AI, and you probably have like maybe a bigger hurdle to get into. And then maybe stuff like US-China diplomacy, which I will talk also a little bit more later, is particularly difficult, right? US and China have like long history, and like there are like many like doctor programs dedicated to understanding like one nuance of that. So understanding that AI safety has like different fields and different subfields that are all like on a little bit different, have different considerations, but all try to target like one specific question of understanding how these AI models can be sort of safely deployed in, for human use in the future, is important to have in your back of your mind. Okay, so maybe the question now is, how do you get into AI safety? Because you kind of realize it's an important problem and you want to maybe dedicate your job to that. A really good basic premise is that you want to convince someone if you want to like join or like get a job, that you need to convince someone that you are like suitable for doing this, for doing the job well. I'm saying this here because I think it's like sort of helpful to have in the back of your mind, because if you want to join AI safety, you kind of want to probably have like a full-time job. But maybe they're not like a lot, and maybe it's difficult to get into them. So let's talk about this. If you want to join any effort to address this really important problem, it's good to consider that your situation is maybe different and difficult to see how like every advice that I will give in the following slides is applicable to you. I would introduce you to think about your job search or whatever you want to do as a constraints optimization problem. So you have maybe one extremely obvious goal, which is maybe you want to have a job in AI safety. How do you get there is constrained by a bunch of preferences that you have. So for example, maybe you want to stay in Germany. Maybe you don't want to wear a suit all day. Then you kind of lag on the advocacy road where you talk with Republicans all day. So all these considerations you want to have in mind when doing like a decision which type of fight you want to fight. I will also talk a little bit about like pitfalls and stuff that you can do wrong if you want to get into AI safety. And lastly, I would like to advise you to be kind of skillful about the things that I say, and don't take everything literally, but think about this, what it means for you, what your specific context is. Awesome. Okay, so I will give you now the cheat sheet on how to get into AI safety. The way I will do it is that I will write your situation here, maybe your background. This is a little bit idealized. And then here we have the field from unestablished to most established. And I will recommend you like what action you would do for each of these stages. Okay, let's go. Oh yeah, yeah, let's not go right away. I just created this nice, good understanding of how to think about fields in AI safety from in the distribution from how much they are from in unestablished to very established. And unestablished areas are AI contracts. This is something where I think, this is my guess, less than 5 people are working on this. This is like an area where you try to figure out how AIs can make contracts with each other when they do certain things. So if you have worked with Cloud Code, you know that it spins sub-agents most of the time. And how do these sub-agents talk with each other is magic. We kind of don't know what they're doing. Sometimes we just like let it vibe. In the future, we maybe don't want this to be the case. We want to have like very distinct sub-agents that have very granular amount of access. How do they communicate with each other is solved in the usual environment when you have like multiple people working with each other is through contracts. So AI contracts, very unestablished. Extremely established US-China diplomacy. I've talked about this for a second. If you think about AI safety as a field, most of the areas are just very unestablished. Like many people, there's not a lot of people that filling these spaces that makes it like that an area becomes more established or becomes richer in research efforts that are happening in them. I love this graph. It's pretty sad, but it's helpful. Okay, let's now start with level 0. You have no AI safety expertise. You have no expertise in an area related to AI. And you have no network, so you cannot talk with a lot of people. And independent of what area you're right now most excited about, you should probably do like a Blue Dot course. Blue Dot is like a course, or like Blue Dot Impact is an organization that offers a course where you can get into AI safety. You can do like a 5-day boot camp or like a reading group for like 3 weeks where you meet like every week once and talk about like these the topics within AI safety and trying to understand them. There's like local groups in AI safety, such as the German-wide Safe AI Germany, who maybe has like subgroups or like other meetups where you can attend, where you can get like a little bit more knowledge about AI safety. What you should also do if you're at this stage where you have no expertise, no knowledge, no network, you have done nothing in your life. Maybe you're just like starting as an undergrad, I don't know. It's like a little bit level 0, I think it's like a little bit more of a baseline. You should also figure out what you like to do. Underestimated skill. I think most people actually don't really know what they like. Okay. This assumes that you also have like some wish to do like AI safety research, but or that you at least want to give it a shot, like an honest attempt. Go to level 1. Imagine you have now done Blue Dot and you visited a bunch of these local groups and got like a little bit better world model of what AI safety is made out of. I think now but yeah, you are still no machine learning background, no knowledge in any area related to AI safety. So no international politics, no physics. Yeah, very little. I think if you are interested in any of the most areas of AI safety, you should just do hackathons and boot camps and sort of try to get like your hand dirty and like understand what every area is made out of. So for AI control, this could mean that you do like a boot camp trying to design a control protocol. But this can also be in governance, and you can try to think about like an analysis of how economic impacts of other transformative technologies had fitted like specific cultures. I'm not a governance person, I think this now bled through. If you have already like knowledge that you want to get into like a very established field, I would, first and foremost, I would caution you and like think deeply about this. But maybe you want to do a graduate degree. Maybe this is just like the sad answer, for example, that you already know that it's like US-China diplomacy is like the perfect example of this, where if you want to make like really significant strides in that area, maybe you need a degree. Maybe people don't listen to you if you don't have like a degree. I think there are some areas in AI safety that are somewhat like that. I would always be like pretty cautionary when like thinking about this, because it's so easy to just say, oh, I just need to do a degree to contribute to AI safety, which is basically never the case, except for like these very rare circumstances where it's like every person in the field has done it though. So be extremely careful with this, especially if you're early on in your AI safety career. Also, the assumption on this is that you want to give AI safety still a serious shot. Okay, let's think that you just did this. You still have AI safety knowledge. You have some nascent experience in some domain, which is awesome. You are now already in probably the top 100 in like whatever area you did a bootcamp in, which is insane to think about. If you have it in a very unestablished domain, you can literally now apply to positions, and they're like really excited to hear your thoughts on this. I hear people constantly getting hired because they did one bootcamp on like one topic that is sort of related to something like a new person wants to think more about and start an organization in. Probably people have like joined Anthropic based on like one bootcamp and one like cool project that was like able to convince someone that you have like thought about one problem within AI safety quite a lot. If the area is medium established, so there are like already 100 people working on this and you are now the 101st best person on the planet in this area, maybe you should do a fellowship. Maybe you should try to get into like a program that allows you to work in this area for like 2 months, 2 to 3 months, and talk with an experienced researcher more. Footnote 1, pivotal fellowship, applications end by the end of the week. If it's very established as an area, now you have confidence. You should know if you need to do a degree. You have talked with people about this. They have done a degree or not. Again, very rare, but still considered. And when you are like at the stage where you have like some nascent experience in some domain, yeah, don't think only about applying, but just continue doing what you've been doing so far, which is hackathons, and maybe programs, and maybe like reading stuff and posting stuff, getting your hands dirty. If you're at this stage, yeah, talk with me. I think I'd be very excited to hear how I can help you figure out how to get into AI safety more deeper. Let's go to the last level, which is level 3. You have significant experience in some domain of AI safety. If the area is extremely unestablished, you are very likely in the top 10% of best practitioners in that area, which is still insane to think about. You could start a research org based on this knowledge, like having done 2 projects in one domain is enough to, and if you have the will to start a research org, it's enough to say, maybe I should leverage my knowledge and get other people to work on that topic that I'm also interested in. If you have a medium established field, I think, yeah, apply to the positions in the field. It should be like very doable to get significantly far in the round if you have like a cool project on it. You should collaborate with the existing orgs that are already thinking about a problem. Independent funding is always available. Not always available, but is always something you should consider. There are like grants and funding opportunities that are very excited to support researchers with early knowledge in yeah, Foresight, I've heard. Okay, maybe. Want to do a shout out for Foresight?
Just we offer grants in AI safety.
Of course, yeah. Yeah, Foresight, of course, one of the strong forces of funding early talent, and also with an amazing track record. Especially the PhD programs, I think, have like a tremendous, yeah, insane track record. This assumes that you don't do a PhD right now. If you do a PhD, maybe you should do something different. Yeah, and if you have significant experience in some domain in AI safety and it's a very established domain, ironically enough, fellowships are now the interesting thing of how you get into the field more, but you can also directly apply to positions. Also, if you have this knowledge, you know, some like significant experience, don't spend time only applying. Please also continue doing research. That's it. Like if you follow these things, and it's like not that deep, right? you are now working full-time in AI safety research. If you're here, I assume you have maybe like some same taste for this. Yeah, I can't emphasize that it's like not extremely complicated. This is also just for research. There's like tons of other stuff that you can do in AI safety that is like tremendously impactful. So for example, grant making. If you have like some knowledge in AI safety, you can start going to very wealthy people like the people of foresight.
Not that well.
Forethought, not forethought. Of foresight, and you can definitely just like contribute the effort of trying to find other talented people doing the valuable research. Then you don't do it yourself, but you find the people who do valuable stuff according to what you think is valuable. Pretty impactful. Or you can do field building stuff where you just start organizations that also try to do this, which is kind of what I did. That is like really idealized, so let's very quickly go through what can go wrong on this. You could struggle to find areas that you like. There's a nice meme that I think you can probably not see from that far away. It reads, we do AI strategy not because it's easy, we do it because we thought it would be easy. I think this is sort of the classic tonus of like trying to find something where you are excited about it, and then you see that it's also possible, and then you go for it. Struggling to find something that you like is fine. I think you should not force yourself to like anything within AI safety, or actually I don't want you to force yourself to do anything ever if it's like not beneficial for you in some respect. If you, for example, try to get into AI safety, but you found out very early that your passion lies in baking, and you looked a lot outside of baking, but you never find something that you enjoy as much as baking, yeah, like stick to baking maybe. It's like you should not force yourself to work in AI safety. There's literally nothing that, that excites you. However, if you also believe that baking is the thing that makes you happy, I think that you maybe have like not explored enough, and you should like look further and like try to explore a lot the space of possible things that you can do. Yeah, from experience, like people just don't explore enough, and it's very easy with like weekend stuff and reading papers and talking with people to exploit other areas and disciplines you may enjoy and jobs that you may like doing. Another thing is to not anchor enjoyment on mastery. That is sometimes like I think what other people struggle with, where they do something, suck at it, and therefore don't enjoy it because they're not like doing it excellently. Here I would like introduce you to the notion that like chess masters don't start as grandmasters, but probably start sucking at chess, but still sticking to it. And then they enjoy playing chess, and they don't enjoy playing chess on grandmaster level. So you kind of have to put the effort in until you are good at something, but in order to put the effort in, you kind of have to like also the thing that you put effort in. What's the solution here? It's explore more, it's talk with people about their jobs, getting to know yourself and be open-minded about what it's like and what is possible. Also very easy is to just stick on something locally, which you kind of like, but not really. It's kind of fine. And then you stick to something that you actually kind of don't like. Imagine you find something that you like, which is awesome. You could think that your work's kind of bad. I would introduce you to the notion that you thinking that your work is bad may be a result out of you failing to assess it correctly, and also considering that bad work can just point towards like a gradient upwards, especially if you have like the first project done, it's bad. The second project is slightly better, but still bad. The gradient could be that it means that like your fifth project is incredible. You're also not great at assessing work quality probably early on. This is a good case where you want to have like people around you who can give you feedback on whatever you're doing. Very underappreciated. I think this is also like a very much muscle that you want to train. Community here is great. Whatever impact you want is maybe also sometimes a numbers game. So if you want to be an excellent academic in order to be a professor or something, you want to have like papers with high citations. Getting high citations is a numbers game, and you maybe want to have 10 publications that you put all equal effort in, and only one of those becomes like a incredibly well-cited paper. So consider that. The main learning from thinking that your work is bad is that you just need to do it more often and get the reps in and try to strengthen your muscle in whatever work you're interested in. Going back and thinking about everything that goes wrong, you found something that you like, you do it often, and you kind of maybe get like a good understanding for yourself that maybe actually you just do it often. So you grind, but you still fail to advance. Here I would want you to think very strongly if you're getting like good feedback from the right people about whatever you're doing so far. If you don't, you maybe also don't know if it's going anywhere, whatever you want to do. Feedback is really crucial here, because how would you know that you are like on the right track? You kind of ideally have other people who have walked the same path as you did, and ultimately can help you tell you that you are doing it wrong in some capacity or another. Learning here, share your stuff, whatever you're doing, share it aggressively outside, go for feedback aggressively, but also do it often still. Yeah, very easy to recommend. You're grinding, you like your work, you're getting feedback, everything works. Now the question is, are you even applying to stuff? If you're not applying at this point, that's like obviously pretty bad. And when you're applying, internalize that hiring is like really noisy, and you want to kind of make a really good case to whatever person is trying to get you into like some position. We want to make it as easy as possible. The classic way to go about this is just asking Claude to do it, fix my CV. When you apply to stuff, that is like something I notice people very rarely do, is like taking the application process as a learning process. You can kind of see how far you are on the journey by seeing how much you advance in like a hiring process. Obviously, you have to be skillful with this. It's not that easy. Hiring is very noisy. If you're, for example, very often not getting past the first stage, maybe your CV really sucks. Maybe you do something extremely wrong in answering the question, but if it's after you get feedback, still often the case that you don't pass after the first stage, maybe you're not in the target demographic, and you have to kind of figure out if you actually need to do like more research or like more boot camps or whatever to be interested by a hiring manager to pass the first stage. Also note here that like some first stages are a lot more difficult than others. So DeepMind first stage is notoriously annoying and difficult because they see that you don't have a PhD, and then they're like, oh, I don't know if they like this. But you shouldn't like discourage yourself from like, or like even do a PhD when you're at this stage. Coding tests, I don't know if they like exist to the extent that they exist so far in the past. In the future, because Cloud Code is like so powerful, and why would you test for coding ability if this is like what it's going to be in the future? This is like a little bit an unconservative take. But if you're failing on the coding test, then you should know, okay, maybe I suck at coding and I need to get better at that. Or you should get feedback from people who are really good at coding tests and ask them for advice. And lastly, if you're at like a final interview and you're constantly drop out of final interviews, maybe you should train final interviews. It's like very rare that you get like through a whole application process and then fail at this. So it's particularly frustrating if you are at that stage. Please don't drop out. I think don't dismiss AI safety. I think at this stage it's pretty much just noise. Some other practical advice for writing applications. Really dear to my heart, don't use language models. I think people underestimate or overestimate how good they are at prompting models, but for like hiring managers that just read applications every day, it's like so easy to see that someone has like not done the legwork and just wrote things down. To a degree where I would just like recommend everyone who's like doing language models or using language models in applications to just put in the prompt in whatever text field that you are getting in an application form. Yeah, I can't overestimate like how bad it ages. Like, so for example, when language models were first introduced, like one thing that they overused was the word delve. Who remembers that every text suddenly included, and everyone wanted to delve into stuff? Yeah. I think in the beginning, when it first happened, it was like not super obvious that delve is like a weird word, right? And only a month after, like people are really delving a lot these days. And I think this is like always the case. Like it's always like M dashes. When M dashes came for the first time, it was like, yeah, sure, I use M dashes all the time. But actually, like after a month, you revisit the text and then you see, yeah, okay, I was just like very bad at pasting whatever ChatGPT or Claude gave me into like an answer field. And that's always the case. There are always these artifacts you can always kind of tell. And even if you're really good at rewriting, I think there's like a scent to it, I want to say. Don't use language models. If you're writing research proposals, maybe like a free tip before like I dive too much into this. Doing a good research proposal looks like doing the first 10% of the project itself. That also shows that you have sort of the ability to do the research. This is just a free advice, take it. Cool, now I want to talk very quickly about like how our fellowship contributed to this fight of like getting into AI safety. When you do AI safety, a fellowship, you learn about AI safety and your course area. That seems like a pretty important premise if you think about the level 0 to level 3, that you kind of have some understanding. Self-reported from surveys, this increased by 1.2 in our last survey. You get a strong output. That is something very easy that you can show to like a person where you want to join, that you kind of understand the field, and that is not as crazy of a bet to put on you because you've already done it. So far, the baseline for our fellowship has been a conference paper or a forum post. Forum post here is, for example, less wrong. This is especially for like the very unestablished areas in AI safety. Less wrong is just like the venue to get it to the 10 other people who care. You know, if you write on AI contracts, you don't need to write a paper on it. Like no one cares at this point. They will care maybe in a year. So maybe you have to find like the forum where like the 10 other people are living. You get a community that teaches you the secret judo of AI safety. Secret judo of AI safety sounds a little bit idiotic. The main premise here is that AI safety lives a lot on like very new findings and like understanding things before they can be published or before they can like reach consensus or like that are tweeted even about. And I think having these people around you and talk with them about this is like pretty nice. They also stop you from quitting prematurely because you kind of see other people doing the same fight that you do. The statistic is that roughly 90% of our alumni are still working in AI safety. Yeah, I remember that I put this quote here in geteiltes Leid ist halbes Leid. Shared sorrow is half sorrow. It's a good German idiom. And it sort of exemplifies quitting prematurely is prevented by community. It accelerates your learning. Community space is rated fairly highly in our fellowship. You get awesome collaborators and people who can give feedback to whatever you're writing in the future. That is extremely valuable. Yeah, and then I think if you want to join like the fellowship, you afterwards can join these incredible organizations where we are very lucky to have our fellows placed in after they did our fellowships. They're not being placed. They afterwards apply in a very boring manner and then just get into the fellowship by just being the best person in this position, sorry. If you're still excited about AI safety, which I hope you are, what you should do now is getting your hands dirty. You should maybe bet a little bit on auto AI research. That seems to be probably something that is coming very soon, something that is definitely very likely increasing whatever output you want to do in quality if you do it skillful. It's kind of ironic to say this after I said that language models are like pretty bad for writing applications, but that is maybe something you want to explore, especially if you want to do technical AI safety research and don't have a strong software engineering background. Do many reps of whatever you want to do. It is not that deep. That leads to talk about the AI safety fellowship that we're currently offering. So if you're excited about AI safety research, you have like some intuition that you want to do some type of research. We have like tons of mentors who are very excited to work with you. You get one-on-one weekly meetings with these very incredible researchers. We have research managers that will hold your hand throughout the whole project, so you don't need to be an ops genius if you want to join. You get a good stipend. We cover your travel, your housing, your compute. We cook you meals. No, we have a caterer, but there will be meals covered. The LISA co-working space surrounds you with incredible researchers in AI safety, people from Apollo, from IAPS. You will have a lot of opportunity to talk with people about the causes that you care about most. The deadline is May 3rd. which is very soon, end of the week on Sunday. The URL is pivotal.apply. And that's it already for my talk. I want to thank all of you for being here. Applications close soon. Next to AI, like another threat that we care a lot about is biosecurity. We will open a biodefense fellowship in a few weeks. So if you think that the next pandemic should be prevented, that would be like a great opportunity to get your hands dirty with some research and projects on that front. You can get updates under this domain. And lastly, all of you being here, being interested in talent needs and AI safety and how to get into it yourself is awesome. I'm really happy that you're here. I'm really rooting for you. If you're doing a good job, I feel a lot better. And it's very difficult to feel like really well with everything that happens in AI safety if you follow the news and with the Department of War, that seems all like extremely bad. So you being here is making it a little bit better for me at least. So thank you all for listening.